This video is brought to you by dealhunter.tech and was created by my good friend Matt from his YouTube channel MS Tech. This website is going to give you the best tech deals, and it is also updated daily. You can go on and check both reviews and the price history to make sure you are getting the best deal possible. And they just added a new feature. It's going to showcase the best deal at that time you're on, so definitely check it out. If you want some cool tech for a great price, I'll put the link in the description down below.
What's up, guys? I'm randomfrankp, back with episode 47 of Room Tour Project, the series where we show off the best setups. Both awesome gaming setups, as well as those simple, minimal productivity setups that I like to show off as well, so you get the best of both worlds. Each and every week I tell you guys we have the best of the best to show off, have some really cool ones planned, and I'm also working on something special for this series coming really soon, so be on the lookout for that. But let's kick off episode 47.
First, we got KJ. Let's take a look at the evolution of his setup. This is it before, and this is it now. Much more my style with that ultra-wide monitor with an overhead display on top. This gaming setup has a lot of great things going for it, and it has just a really great feel overall. It gives off a definite gamer vibe. Now when we get into some of his gear, let's talk about those two monitors. The bottom ultra wide is from Dell. It is a Dell 3415W, and that overhead is another Dell Ultra Sharp, a 24-inch U2412 display. As for his gear on the desk, his keyboard is a Corsair K70 RGB. He's got the Razer Death Adder Chroma mouse on that Razer Firefly mouse pad. You can see the Eclipse Pro Media 2.1 speakers on each side of his monitor, and those headphones in the back are the Sony MDR 7506. Props for that naughty light as well. Inside that Fantex case, you got the Intel i7 4930K. That is cooled by the NZXT X61 Kraken liquid CPU cooler, all in an Asus X99 Deluxe motherboard. Got 32GB of Corsair Dominator Platinum RAM and a Gigabyte 980 Ti graphics card. Pretty good stuff. I really do like this setup a lot though. The use of the RGB peripherals with the LifeX light bulb as well as the naughty light to give your room this RGB glow to it, I think is just enough. It's not overdoing it. Love your monitor orientation, and overall it's definitely a solid gaming setup. Next up, we got this masterpiece from Peter Brandt. I showed off a lot of his stuff in the past, and he's back at it again with this crazy setup. He's actually like one of the OGs for making these PC desk builds, and like I said, we're back at it again to show this one off, and it is looking as killer as always. While I keep talking and explain some of the specs, I'm just going to have a giant montage of photos of this PC so you can look at it and just drool everywhere. But getting into some of the specs and stuff that he's using for this PC, his specs are the Intel Core i7 6700K CPU on an Asus Maximus 8 Formula motherboard. He has two Asus GTX 980 Strix in SLI, 16GB of the Avexor Red Tesla RAM. Glows and looks really cool. It's going to fit in with this build as well. He has two Thermaltake Core P5s, and obviously this entire thing is liquid cooled fully from Thermaltake as well. But there's something to be said about this custom, liquid cooling job that he did throughout this entire glass PC desk. It just looks insane. And you can see that Asus ROG Swift logo there kind of illuminating throughout and glowing on the floor. And that was because he has an Asus ROG Swift 34-inch 100Hz monitor. And into his main peripherals, he has the Thermaltake Esports Poseidon Z keyboard, the Thermaltake Esports Theron Mouse Plus, as well as their Shock 3D headset. But for as cool as this is, you have to remember that he actually built this from the ground up. So we can sit here all day and just dream about playing at this, but you got to give credit where credit is due for him fully building this. It is one of the coolest PCs ever, and it's definitely one of the most memorable builds that I have seen. Peter even sent us some exclusive footage so we can take a first look into his modding workshop, if you will. And it's probably as crazy as you would imagine, because all of this stuff is what's going to help him mod and create those custom desk PCs. I thought it was really cool that he wanted to give us his look. We could see, the kind of rig he's rocking right now, which I'm pretty sure I've showed off in the past on an earlier episode as well. Got tons of custom, paint stuff, tons of tools, everything you will need to create these really awesome PCs he's got going on in this workshop. I'm just really happy to have him on, continually showing off some of his stuff, because he's always making just really jaw-dropping creations for us. You can see he has this kind of display case here. He can show off some hardware and components. It's really hard to even just compare his stuff to someone else, because he always does such a professional and memorable job. It's really one of one, Peter. Everything you do is awesome. I love having you on the show here, showing your stuff off. And you just take a look at this, and it doesn't even look real. It is just insane how crazy this desk came out. All glass. The build itself with the PC is so clean and organized. I love the theme he has going on, and even with those RGB lights, he can really make this. He can make this setup whatever color, whatever scheme he wants, because he just can. And the fact he has the little Asus ROG Swift kind of logo illuminating on the floor, you don't see stuff like that every day. You know, when you see something like this, it is from a professional. And he's always bringing us these awesome creations, so I'm going to continually have him on every time he shows off a new build or a new setup. And I wanted to thank you for giving us all a look at your modding workshop here. It is really awesome. If you want to see more of his work, in the description where I have all the products listed, I'm also going to put a link to his website. You can check out pretty much everything he's made. Here we got a dual setup from Whojacked. We have one productivity setup, and then next to that is a gaming setup. So how could you not be entertained here? For his main gaming setup, he's got that triple monitor display with some backlighting around that kind of backdrop behind his desk to make it look really cool at night with the lights glowing. But getting into some of that gear, he has 3 Asus monitors all lined up. Again, I'll put those models in the description down below so you can check them out. But when it comes to his gear, his keyboard is the Corsair Strafe RGB keyboard with MX red switches inside. His mouse is the Mad Cat Rat 3 in white to go along with his desk. And he's using a SteelSeries mouse pad to kind of tie his peripherals together. I like how he has his monitors mounted there on that kind of wooden backdrop, but he also has the storage underneath in case you just want to clean up the desktop a little bit. And then into his gaming PC specs. He's got an i7 2600K on an Asus motherboard, 16GB of RAM, and an R9 270X inside that Cooler Master half cab case. So a pretty budget build that can be picked up now for very cheap. And then switching it over to his productivity setup, very nice and simple here. For this setup, he's just rocking a 2013 iMac. And in terms of his peripherals there, he has a few things going on, like a wired Apple keyboard. He also has a wireless Apple keyboard. In his mouse, he can either switch it up with the Magic Mouse or go along with the MX Master Mouse from Logitech. It's definitely simple, and it's going to help him get stuff done in the little kind of corner over here. But altogether, I like how you kind of have it separated so each side is dedicated to each thing. But I'm really digging your gaming setup. It's looking pretty solid. Now, shout out to David here, because for his setup, he actually 3D printed a lot of the key components here for his desk setup, which, when you think about it, is pretty awesome that he actually created half of this just from 3D printing it. Now, we'll get into more details in a minute, but he 3D printed those little desk skulls on his desk, an SD card holder, his phone stand, those DIY speakers. He even 3D custom printed those little stands for the risers on his desk, as well as his very own PC case. His blue and orange theme here is definitely apparent, but for his gear, that is a Philips 40-inch 4K TV, which he is using as his primary monitor. For his peripherals, he has the CM Storm TK Stealth with Cherry MX Brown switches, the Mad Catz Rat 5 mouse on a HyperX extended mouse pad. And this is his custom-built PC, which he 3D printed this kind of hybrid case and kind of like a test bench. I'm really liking the way this came out. Looks really awesome. But for his specs, he has an i7 5820K. That's on an MSI X99A SLI Plus motherboard with a GTX 970 Strix graphics card. Again, just big thumbs up for printing your own case. That is really awesome. I really like how you stuck to your color theme. It's definitely unique, and you even did that with your GT Omega chair, orange and black. Again, I can put a discount code for you guys in the description down below if you want to pick one up as well. But this setup is just really great. The fact that you 3D printed a lot of your main components is really cool. I like how you have some components and hardware on the shelves as well. Just a really awesome DIY gaming setup. Now here we have another awesome evolution of a setup from KptnKlutch. As you can see, his first setup was just simple, one monitor. He then made the jump to a double monitor setup here, and then now his newest rendition of a triple monitor setup, looking very cool. I'm always intrigued by having those two vertical monitors on the side of your horizontal monitor, but this setup's really making it work, especially with that wallpaper. You know this guy is digging Star Wars, but getting into some of his gear, his vertical monitors are from Dell. They are 21.5-inch monitors, and his main monitor is a 27-inch 1440Hz BenQ monitor. Into his peripherals, he has the Corsair K65 RGB keyboard with the Corsair M65 RGB mouse. As for audio, you can see his blue snowball microphone along with those Sennheiser HD 598 headphones, a very popular choice. And then taking a look at his PC, got a black and red theme going on inside the Corsair Air 240 Micro ATX case. He has the Intel i5 4590 CPU, that is of course liquid cooled with the Corsair H60. We have 16 gigs of G.Skill Ripjaw RAM with a Gigabyte Radeon R9 390 graphics card. Overall, I can definitely appreciate the Stormtrooper theme here. The monitor orientation is always unique when I see it, and we're not going to ignore that Herman Miller chair, which is easily valued at over $1,200. Your setup has definitely changed a lot over the years, and this is hands down your best vision for it.
Alright guys, that'll do it for episode 47 of Room Tour Project. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, give this video a big thumbs up to show your support, and also comment down below on which setup was your favorites. Also, don't forget to check the description. I will have all the products you saw in this episode listed down there for you in case you want to check it out and pick it up, as well as some simple instructions on how to submit your setup if you want to be considered to be on a future episode. Also, feel free to hit me up and follow me on Twitter at randomfrankp, and don't forget to hit subscribe. You are not going to want to miss out any tech reviews or future episodes of Room Tour Project coming up to the channel. Well, I'm Random Frank P. Hope you enjoyed episode 47. Have a good day.